All right, what's going on, guys? We're gonna be swapping out the headlights. And I was originally gonna keep these and just run new bulbs, but once I started taking this apart, these are all C's. They don't release the headlight, and every bit of plastic when you go to twist the bulbs out just snapped clean off. So I'm not gonna waste my time. I got some eBay specials on the way. But in the meantime, until they arrive, I was looking at this harness and it is absolutely hacked together with every kind of horrible connection, electrical tape. It's a mess. So I'm gonna try to clean this up, make sense of it. And it is, I'm not kidding you, it's everywhere. For 2 feet of wire, it's just all electrical tape and weird connectors. Eventually in later videos, I'm gonna be replacing that aux fan and the trans cooler with new, nicer ones. I'll have to make a trans mount, but that's for a later time. What I really want to do is get this harness all cleared up, because who knows, you'll be running down the highway and all of a sudden just lose everything up front. So let's get to it. These will be the tools of the trade for this job. It's going to be solder, soldering iron, wire stripper, diag cutters, heat shrink, and a lighter. While the soldering gun's heating up, I usually just stab the wires together and wrap them around each other. If you ever look up the proper soldering thing, you'll see a bunch of, oh, this is how NASA does it and all that stuff. But get a good twist, make it low profile so you can easily slide heat shrink over it. It's good enough, especially for a car. We're not landing on the moon here. And then just like that, that's all you really need. You just need to flow into the center of the wire. I like to, if you have a good soldering iron, you can kind of just hold it on the copper and dab the solder onto the wire and it'll flow in super nicely. You won't even need flux, but for the standard, parts store ones, they're kind of weak, so sometimes you have to play with it. You have to put a little bit of solder on the tip of the gun, then it should flow into the wire, and then once you have that flow, once you tap the solder to the wire, it'll start pulling in. But it's just kind of a little game. But again, we're not landing on the moon. Okay, I finally finished. There must have been about, I want to say, at least 19 or 20 patches in the wiring. All of them are now soldered and seal tighted, not seal tight, shrink wrapped. And for here, I only use the electrical tape just to dictate the harness's direction. So the two turn signal, or the running light and the turn signal, same harness, they go the same way, they're taped off. The headlight, or the two headlights, they're nearby, so they get taped off together. Now it just kind of keeps the harness organized and makes it easy to slip into the loom and just make little individual slide outs for that. Here's a quick close-up of all the splices I had to replace, and they are all the same. Just twist them together and wrap some tape around it kind of deal. So I'm real glad I got this out, but this is also the reason why I don't like anyone else working on my stuff. The dealership, yeah, there's gonna be a couple good techs, but a lot of them are just trying to get by on a Friday, and they'll quickly just tape something up if it means it gets out the door. Even other shops, every shop has a bunch of hacks in them. There's good techs, and then there's, for every good tech, there's probably 5 hacks, So I feel a lot better just doing this all myself. I always have, always will. I know how it is, I know how the job comes out. And not only that, is you also never know what they're doing, If you're not tech savvy, like if someone, this is obviously someone cut the lines off here and they just hose clamped hose on. I don't trust this for anything. So once I finally get to this, I'm gonna get the nice AN lines, I'll get the nice fittings, I'll get a new trans cooler, do it the right way. But this is the kind of stuff you'd see a home shop mechanic, shade tree kind of guy do, and I don't like any of that, because it doesn't take much for this hose to kind of chafe. They have double zip ties, so it's actually pretty secure on here, but if that was just to rub against this radiator support enough, boom, pop a hole, transmission's gushing fluid. Stuff like that, where it's just, like even here, that's on a metal bracket, that could wear through. Under here, could kind of rub. You can even see where it is actually starting to cut into it. I don't know if my camera will focus, but that was just sitting right there. If that was any sharper, if that was a piece of metal, cut right through, radiator gets smoked out with trans fluid, so That's why I'd rather do everything myself. And who's to say this wasn't some guy in his driveway doing this, but I know the family that had this truck pretty well, and I'm pretty sure they brought it to some mechanic somewhere. I don't think they did the work, so good example of why it's always better to read up online, get the right parts, look up how other people are doing it in nice ways, copy that if you need to, or just use common sense, you know, and that way you won't be stuck on the side of the road wishing that you didn't have to retake your whole front grille off just because you were too lazy to fix these trans-cooler lines the right way, or that wiring harness, maybe one of your connectors came undone, you're driving home at night with no headlights, that kind of thing. Take your time, do things right. You got the driver's side on. On the plastic side, we snapped a bolt in, which is pretty much the story of my life with these front headlights because everything sees. So we're gonna try to drill that out. If it doesn't come out, we'll weld a nut onto it and try to twist it out, but I don't see that working, so let's just jump right to drilling. So I was able to drill pretty much dead on. I'm actually popping through, I think, in the back there, and not nick the threads too much, maybe a little bit, but who cares, it's a headlight bolt. But I noticed that the remains of the fastener were slowly spinning along with the drill bit, and then they'd quickly lock back up. So I put a drill bit in forward and reverse, keep switching back. I could see it moving, so I'm gonna stop drilling it right there. I'm gonna put some lubricant in there and then try and easy out. Now it looks like it wants to thread through, which luckily there's room in the back. It's not a blind hole where it could thread straight out. So I might still try to drill it, but I'm gonna try and easy out with some lubricant real quick, just to rule it out. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but with drilling out studs and anything that's broken, it's always good to try to do as minimal invasiveness as possible. So if we could stop it now and get it out now, let's do it before that becomes impossible. So now's a good time to try that easy out. Okay, so the easy out, I didn't go too far with it, but I saw it immediately just try to bite in past the remainder of the bolt. I don't want to damage these threads while the remaining bolt is still able to spin in them. So I quickly aborted that, sprayed some lubricant in there, and now I'm gonna keep trying to drill it because I was still getting motion with the drill. So hopefully that lubricant will work in and allow it just to spin right through with the drill bit. All right, there we go. The remainder of it did come out the drill bit. I went through one side a little too much, so I'm sure half those threads are missing, but again, it is just a headlight bolt. This is not holding a cylinder head on. This is not doing anything crazy besides just loosely mounting a head plate, so it's fine. I'll run a tap through it just to clean up what's remaining, and we should be good to go. I love these auto parts bolt sets. Usually whenever I do a car that's mostly metric, I'll buy one, just because I have a fully stocked SAE shelf over there, but nothing for metric, so it's handy to have, and it comes with all the basic sizes that the majority of hardware on a metric car or truck, especially older ones, will usually be. So you know, you get your basics M8s, M10s, 1.5 or 1.25 in different lengths. So I was lucky. There's an original headlight bolt. There's the equivalent just in a nice zinc coating, so should be good. The headlights come with this LED controller, ballast type deal. Has double-sided tape on it. They say it's to stick it nearby, so why not in there where the grill isn't going to touch it. Now we have to splice in these two wires into the side marker lights, and the whole LED U shape should work. So let's get that going for both sides. It comes with these stupid little things. I hate these. I don't like them at all, so we're just gonna strip back some wire, solder, and heat shrink. So I actually had the wiring backwards in that last little clip, but just what I thought was black is actually brown, so that goes to the brown side of everything, and then the blue becomes the negative for the LED controller, but I'm liking it so far. I believe the turn signal has that same shape, so it should be pretty cool to see them both light up like that. Okay, the headlights are both done. Everything's soldered up nicely. Now, these headlights had a little bit of an issue. Both of these had this white pigtail connector, but the one for the turn signals had one of the pins sort of missing. So it only worked if you really pushed the two together. So I ended up just cutting it off and splicing on those for now. I'm eventually gonna put a nice pigtail on there, but just to make the headlight work. Before, if I even gave this the slightest wiggle, this would shut off. So at least that's fixed, and it'll be fine for now. But yep, let's get going to cleaning up the grill. All right, so I tried the heat gun and scraper method, and I think GM plastic chrome is stronger than Ford. That's what everyone online in the Ford forum they're saying works well for them, and it did not even bubble this stuff. So I'm trying another forum method, which was oven cleaner. I don't think it's gonna work at all, but we'll see. The chrome was already peeling, otherwise I probably would have just tried to sand it down real good and spray it. But I also heard mixed things about being able to paint on top of them, on top of this kind of chrome. So I don't know, if this doesn't work, I might just order a new grill that's already paint ready in black, but this is worth a shot, I guess. We'll see. It sucks that it was already peeling, because otherwise I probably could have sold this and made some money, but oh well. All right, it's the next day, and that oven cleaner did absolutely nothing. It didn't even really clean it that much. Just even the stuff where it was already peeling, didn't even loosen it a little bit at all. So fuck this grill. We'll just order one online. They come brand new, already black, ready for paint for $70 plus $30 of shipping. Scraping this, peeling off like millimeter by millimeter is not worth $130 to me. So get a new one, be done with it. So at least for now, we got new headlights in. They all work. They look good. I'm gonna leave the plastic on just to keep them clean till I get that grill in. And yeah, I wish this was all back together in black, but wasn't in the cards for this weekend. Eventually, I think one of the next videos will be changing out the transmission cooler and the fan. These fans are auxiliary fans for the 454s. My issue now is I have to find the sensor in the head because it broke off, and the wire for it is right here. So I just have to figure out what the right sending unit for that is, but that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I just want to clean up the front. I should honestly paint this, but maybe I'll do that in the middle of the week. Paint the radiator support, make it look all brand new in here. But in all reality, who really cares? I just want to get rid of this before it rubs through right here and puts a hole in the line. Just went and bought the $50 off of LMC truck or LMK truck, whatever it is, plus like $40 in shipping. Brand new, ready for paint. It's got a scuff it kind of grill, and it's already black. It looks really good. Goes great with these smoked headlights. I'll get the LEDs on, show you what that looks like. And there we are. I really like how that looks. It looks tough and modern, but nothing too gaudy, I don't think. Just simple U-shaped LEDs for running lights. I'm into it. Now, after this, we're gonna finish up. I started months ago cleaning up the engine bay. I stopped right around there by the wiper motor. We're gonna finish it off, paint the air filter housing, pull the grill back again, and do this radiator support top. Clean up all the plastics, make it look like decent. Just gave it a quick rattle can job, Craigslist rebuild, whatever you want to call it. And this is obviously not ideal, but cleans it up. This truck was abandoned for 15 years. It makes anything's better at this point. Got the radiator support, pulled the grill back off. I also got the air cleaner drying. Warm up the spray paint can in front of the heater, hit the lid. Now it'd be cool to get the reproduction stickers for those, but it's down the line. It's all back together, front grill's on, and everything is painted and buttoned back up. Looks pretty good for the moment. I still have to wipe down the plastics with WD-40, but I just hit them with some mineral spirits. Yeah, it's looking pretty good in my opinion for a abandoned rattle can engine job. And obviously as parts get changed, I'm gonna redo them all. Like once I pull the valve covers, I'll paint those. Once I probably end up doing the intake manifold gaskets, I'll paint the intake manifold, stuff like that. That wire is to the temp sender for the aux fan. So once I get the new sender, I'll hook all that up. But it looks pretty good. Even did the battery tray. Not bad. Here's a final look at the finished front end with the hood shut. I just gotta get 2 new fenders and I can start some of the body work. I wanna find a new bed before I go crazy because this bed is pushed into the cab. You can see, but it's touching. It even dented the cab a little, which I'm not too worried about. But not only is it pushed in there, but back bumper crinkled here, and it bent the tailgate mount, so I can't even get a tailgate on there. I could just cut out and patch in a new piece there, but with the front of the bed pushed into the cab, I'd rather just start with something in better condition. Interior is still looking great as always. Got some WeatherTechs in here. Really enjoying it. Flannel's still hanging on strong too.